violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's get into the video. Man, so I saw this post on the Shade Room, and it's actually kind of deplorable, man. It's disgusting how these people are glorifying, laws just being uprooted, okay? Traffic laws just being uprooted, especially in a very bloody city like Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they have a lot of shootings, okay? So much so that people are not even covering it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like another day at work. And it's pretty disgusting how they're glorifying a bill to ban police from making minor traffic stops, okay? And I'm going to show you why it's so important, because what people don't understand is not only are the streets or the hoods dangerous, but the highways are dangerous. I've done multiple videos on, people speeding to get away from shootings, right? People hitting licks, speeding, crashing, going out in a blaze of fire, minor traffic infractions, them having weapons on them, about to do a sting. We've done these videos. We've covered these videos. So what I want to get into is kind of what the city council is talking about when it comes to the driver equality bill banning traffic stops for minor violations in Philadelphia. Okay. So let's see. I believe I have the video on the city council, but let's just go through some of these points. The following issues are considered secondary violations in the driving equality bills: vehicle nor registered within 60 days of the observed infraction, registration plate not clearly displayed, fastened, or visible, which we know that these dudes will hit a lick on a car and then take off the plates or put tag applied on the plates. You know what I'm saying? An old DMV license plate, whatever they can get their hands on. Single brake light, headlight, running light, etc., not illuminated. Minor obstructions, bumper issues, operation of vehicle without official certificate of inspection, unlawful operation without evidence of emission inspection. So just throw the whole emission. They don't even have to pass emissions to get on the road. Meanwhile, they're trying to ban dirt bikes and ATVs. Like, what are they even doing out here? But let's get into some of these comments, man. As they should. Look at God. I mean, these people don't even know what's going on. He says this would never fly in the South, but shout out to Philly for trying to start a wave of criminality, a wave of more dangerous roads. We've done videos on the hit and run. There's a hit and run in my city just recently on a young girl, had her whole life ahead of her. A lot of times, these guys who are willing to do these things can get pulled over for minor traffic infractions so that they're not on the streets, okay? Maybe this is a step so they can stop killing some of our folks now. Oh my God. I mean, you got to look in the comments section and see what the people think. This is how the people think, okay? This is how the people think. So we'll have more on this bill, and we'll get the city council members to explain exactly what they're trying to do with this bill.
On Philadelphia's Driving Equality Act. The move aims at taking away police stops for minor offenses that disproportionately impact people of color and can lead to escalated situations with officers. Action News race and culture reporter Taronda Thomas is...
She said a whole lot there. She said a whole lot there. So we're going to break this down.
Philadelphia's Driving Equality Act. The move aims at taking away police stops for minor offenses that
what?
Disproportionately impact people of color.
So is she saying that people of color make most of the traffic infractions? Because how would it disproportionately impact people of color? Are white people not getting pulled over for the same things? You know, and I'm not saying you pull a guy on some tents every time you see him. I'm not saying that. But also, like I said, there are certain indications that can lead to an arrest that stops somebody from losing their life or having serious bodily harm. They don't even take into account, I mean, they're handcuffing their police, which is kind of ironic, okay? And watch how Philadelphia gets more and more bloody.
And can lead to escalated situations with officers.
Okay, and then the other thing, I'm sorry, but she said it can lead to escalated situations with officers. There's a few reasons why it can lead to an escalated situation with an officer. For one, a lot of brothers, we already know, is hotboxing a whip. So you get pulled over, the whip is gassed up, you smoking Black and Miles, whatever. Your whip don't smell right. You're gonna get pulled, and it's gonna be a problem, okay? Because they count that as a DUI, which, I mean, it is what it is, all right? That's the rules. Not saying that I 100% agree with every rule that they have, but that's what's on the books, man. Okay? So, when you take that into account, why are situations with Black and brown people escalating? A lot of times, we may not be doing right in our cars. And y'all know what I mean. Dudes riding around with pistols, they got felonies, whatnot. So they gonna escalate a situation and they gonna start, you know, going back and forth with the cop. They may not have their registration. They may not have insurance. They may be riding dirty, okay? So all she's saying is that we break the laws more, so we're affected by it more. So what they're trying to do is take the law away so that we can continue to break the laws.
Action News race and culture reporter Taronda Thomas is breaking this down for us. This will now be a new law in the city, and there's data to back this up, Taronda.
Absolutely, and that data comes from the Equity Report, which looked at 3 measures of policing: diversity of the force, drug enforcement, and arrest. Now, our data journalists found inequities in all 3 categories. If we hone in on arrest, we find that Black people are more than twice as likely as white people to be arrested in Philadelphia.
Why do you think that is? Just go ahead and guess. I mean, ask Meek Mill. Y'all seen his tour bus. Y'all seen what he was endorsing, okay? This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. It's because culturally, we on that hot stuff. Unfortunately, okay? Like, I'm not happy about telling you why we are affected by this in disproportionate numbers. It doesn't bring me joy to say this. Okay? So for one, if you are doing bad, if you're doing that type of behavior, you got to move different. You can't break. You gotta be compliant in all the ways exteriorly, right? So that you can keep it moving. Because at the end of the day, if you swerving, if you ain't paying attention to the roads, you on your phone doing all this extra stuff, there's a reason that you getting pulled over. You don't got your plates right, you don't got your registration right, you getting pulled over, bro. So it's like, you have to, if you're in that type of life, if you have the exterior looking right, I guarantee you'll avoid these situations a lot more. But it's how we rocking, man.
Some of those arrests begin with a traffic stop.
I think I've been pulled over so many times that I've actually lost count.
Even a city council member at large, Isaiah Thomas, has had the same experience that he says far too many African Americans have.
An officer said that he pulled me over because my tail light was out. The next morning I go to my mechanic and he's like, "What? You know, there's nothing wrong with your car. What are you talking about?"
sometimes I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, in Philly, it's hot out there. They got a lot of murder. So him getting pulled over may not have been nothing personal, honestly. But when you're in a city like that, in West Philadelphia, born and raised, it's a lot bloodier now than it was when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fled the scene. So, you know, if he got pulled over for a pull tail light, one time I got pulled over for a, it was a license plate light. I mean, it's petty. Can they pull you over for it? Yeah. Did I get a ticket? No, because I ain't make no scene.
The next morning, I go to my mechanic, and he's like, "What? You know, there's nothing wrong with your car. What are you talking about?"
It's part of the reason.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me Buddy got pulled over by the police and it didn't end in gunfire? I bet he was pretty cool with the police. Didn't go back and forth with the police. Said, "Yes, officer. Yes, sir." Lived to tell the story. I'm not saying that it wasn't petty that he got pulled over for the tail light, but it is what it is.
And Thomas drafted the Driving Equality Act, changing the way Philadelphia police operate when it comes to traffic stops. The 6 ABC data team analyzed every traffic stop by Philadelphia police this year and found that black people made up 76.7% of those stopped, more than double their share of the...
I mean, come on, G. Are y'all gonna make me say why that is? Like, just because the population is dispersed in this way doesn't mean that those numbers are going to reflect in traffic stops. Okay? So y'all got to stop saying, oh, well, there's only this percentage of white people and this percentage of blacks, this percentage of Asians, and we're disproportionately affected because we got the bulk of percentage of traffic stops. Maybe we need to start moving different.
The population. It's no surprise to the Philadelphia Defenders Police Accountability Unit. They say Philadelphia police often use traffic stops for minor violations as a pretext to search for illegal goods like guns or drugs, disproportionately stopping people of color.
You basically have police setting up what I would call roving checkpoints in certain neighborhoods and utilizing the motor vehicle code in that way to stop whoever they want.
So these checkpoints are outside of drug-infested, gang-infested areas. You know, it's almost like a perimeter strategy. Now, they just pulling random people over? Maybe, okay? It's a numbers game out there, and you got a lot of unsolved murders.
In fact, people of color were more than 3 times as likely to be pulled over than white people, in many cases for minor offenses such as a broken taillight, the type of offense that would be recategorized under the Driving Equality Act.
The only thing my bill will do is take minor traffic violations, such as something dangling in your mirror, such as one tail light out, and put them in a secondary category similar to what we see seatbelts.
All secondary offenses, and Thomas says the new law does not let drivers get away with being reckless or prevent police from enforcing other laws.
Nothing in my bill will allow law enforcement to be handicapped when a crime is committed.
He hopes that
What y'all think? What do y'all think? I mean, I just read the bullet points.
this change in the law means future generations like his sons will have less worry when they get behind the wheel.
I'm hoping that this can be something historic.
Now, Philadelphia.
You know what would be something historic? Getting a hold on those murders, man. Stopping those carjackings, bruh. You know, preventing these situations where these guys have multiple warrants, charges racked up, and getting bonds.
The police were part of a team that worked on this legislation with Councilmember Thomas. The next step will be an executive order from the mayor's office. Police will then have 120 days to train officers before this new law goes into effect. Now, the city will keep track of this data related to the change in police stops and make it publicly available. We have this full story with much more detail on.
Oh, you best believe I'm gonna be on that.
On our website, that's also where you can access a wealth of data on policing in Philadelphia and across the country. It's ouramericabc.com/equity-report. Rick?
All right, Toronto.
Overnight, a scene that involved a dead man, crash cars, and possibly 3 different shooters. Philadelphia police are investigating the city's latest homicide, this time in West Oak Lane. Just before 12:30 this morning, police found a 21-year-old man slumped in the driver's seat of his car. Detectives say he was shot in the chest while he was driving.
So he was shot in the chest while he was driving. I'm pretty sure the people who did this were not compliant in the way that they were driving. This is in Philadelphia, right? I'm pretty sure if a cop noticed their vehicle, he probably would have thought something was suspicious, right? So these guys, from my perspective, a lot of times either they're following these guys, right? Either they're following these people or they're in front of them. They hop out of the car, get busy, and then jump back in the car, okay? And speed off. This is a super unfortunate situation. It's sad, and this is what happens on the roads in Philadelphia.
He managed to drive a couple of blocks before crashing into 3 parked cars. 2 blocks from the crash site on the 1200 block of Easton Road, police found 33 shell casings. Police believe 3 different guns were used. They hope cameras in the area will help lead them to the shooters.
And we are continuing to follow breaking news out of West Philadelphia. 3 15-year-olds have been shot. One of them.
Hold up. Ain't that where Will Smith was talking about? West Philadelphia? 3 15-year-olds shot at a rec center. So if the rec centers ain't safe, they have police posted on these perimeters. Some of these people fleeing the scenes, they're in vehicles. And if these police are handicapped to where they can't pull people over, they're handcuffed. These dudes can get off with minor traffic infractions, go unnoticed. Police have to look the other way. You're just going to see an increase in these unsolved murders. Guaranteed.
Is dead. Police say that this happened around 7:30 tonight on the 5500 block of Christian Street in the Christie Rec Center. The 15-year-old who died had been shot in the neck, and police say another boy and a girl, both of them also 15 years old, were shot. They are expected to survive. No arrests have been made.
Well, a shooting at Grambling State University leaves one person dead, another in the hospital. They say a juvenile and a 19-year-old were both shot, but have not released which victim died.
Wow. So Grambling State, you guessed it, it's an HBCU. Okay. They had their homecoming. It's always lit. Like, I love going to HBCUs, man. I really do. All of my family members went to HBCUs, but recently they've been getting a little dangerous. And this is in Louisiana, okay? You always see some fights at the HBCU homecomings and all this kind of stuff. You'll see that. But these dudes are getting to the gunplay now. And because it's predominantly black, there's more people on that hot stuff. More people on that bang, bang, gang, gang. So you got to be vigilant at these HBCUs. Like, when my brother was going to Albany State, he said they was doing kick doors in Albany State. So you got to watch your back.
Alyssa Azar joins us now live from campus. Alyssa, what happened? What are the students?
And I'm not talking about no regular kick doors. I'm talking about kicking in your dorm room door.
Saying.
Jennifer, one student told me it was utter chaos. Kevin Brown says he was nearby and recalls the scene vividly.
And then it just popped off. People just started shooting. And it was like the first 2 shots, like you could hear like it had went through somebody. The shots, like the way it sounded in the air was not like the same. Like it was like fa, fa, and then pow, pow, pow. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Why is he like, bruh, you're shooting, like one person just died. You talking about some pow, 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 smile and laugh. And I mean, if he took his mask off, he'd be cheesing ear to ear. How is this funny? Like, bruh's explaining it like it's a game.
It was not like the same. Like it was like fa, fa, and then pow, pow, pow. And I was like, oh my gosh, those first two shots, they went through somebody's body. Like everybody went in different directions. Like,
and you could tell, you know, he a little moist. But shout out to the brother, man. Shout out to him. Because he is giving a good depiction. I will say that.
Everybody. It was just, people went back there, over there. I was one of the people that was over there, so I ran that way.
Campus Police Chief Jerry Melton says a juvenile and 19-year-old were shot, and they're not students. He says it happened around 1 a.m. at the yard where students hang out behind the student union.
Wow. In the main yard. Are you serious? And, you know, what I will say, the difference between an HBCU, which is historically black college and university, and a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution, is safety. You know, I had the option to go to an HBCU, and I chose to go to University of Georgia, okay? And it was because when I went on the tours in HBCU, it was kind of tense. You'll go on campus, you know, it was cool. Like, I had a good time, but when you go to the functions afterwards, dudes posted up trying to look hard. It was just too much. You know what I mean? It was just too much. Like, I could tell, like, a lot of dudes was having envy out there. Yeah? But in the HBCUs, a lot of them dudes were getting robbed. Okay? Like, you leave your stuff in a student center at University of Georgia, it's there where you left it the next day. I'm telling you. Guaranteed. Anywhere on campus, now if you go downtown or somewhere else, nah, it ain't gonna be there. But anywhere on campus, you place your laptop on a table, come back the next day, it's there. Or it's in the lost and found. I can't say the same for a Grambling state.
Now they're evaluating security and plan to hire more officers.
You hate to say you learn from it, but you learn from it. And you try to make things better than what it was when that happened. So that's what we're working on right now.
And this is a school shooting. No media coverage. Blackout. I mean, literally, if I wasn't searching for this, I wouldn't have heard of it. I wouldn't have found it. I was literally, I don't know. I don't know how I found this story. But it's nowhere on the mainstream. This should be everywhere. This is a college shooting. An HBCU on campus. On campus. Nowhere to be found. Media blackout.
Brown says it's no surprise the shooting involved people that don't attend the university because students are at the yard every day.
It just sucks. Like,
so this is what it is. The dudes around the corner who pulling up, hitting on the college girls and stuff like that. The dudes pulling up who don't go to the school, trying to get some, college chicks. They come and shoot the place up. You can't take these brothers nowhere, bruh.
We can't seem to have fun without violence happening anytime soon.
Why is that? Why is that? I guarantee he's gone to some other parties that may have gotten shot up or been some big fights. And, you know, I love the HBCUs. I love the bands, man. I love the all-black football teams, man. I love seeing that. The athleticism, guys getting overlooked, you know, by the NFL, by other, they got raw talent, just need some other. I love seeing that, man. But when are we going to talk about how dangerous these joints be getting? Okay? When are we going to talk about how a few years ago the Savannah State cafeteria got shot up? When are we going to talk about that?
The police were out here, but it's just like, you know, it's such a large crowd. It's just so hard to, like, you know, figure out who's doing what, where. And
sophomore Martavius Ellis says it's unfortunate this happened during homecoming week.
It was just upsetting that they were not students. So, you know, we just want to protect the.
Yo, my man got 4 24-karat gold-plated chains on.
Our campus and make sure that.
And his waves on swim, you can see the do-rag print.
That everyone's safe.
Chief Melton says they are going to do what it takes to keep people safe.
Let them know that, you know, this is one of those things that happen that we hate happen, but we're going to do the best we can to make sure that they enjoy the rest of their homecoming.
Louisiana State Police are still investigating. Police have not released if it was the juvenile or the 19-year-old who died. In Grambling, I'm Alyssa Azara for KNOE 8 News.
University. LSP is looking for 18-year-old Jatavius Carroll of Delhi. Carroll, who also goes by the nickname Rabbit, is accused of shooting 2 Rayville teens.
Rabbit. Jatavius Carroll. So obviously he's one of these rap disciples. He's a savage.
A 16-year-old teenager was injured, and 19-year-old Demarius Murphy was killed. Carroll is wanted on 1 count of second-degree murder, 1 count of attempted second-degree murder, and 1 count of possessing a firearm weapon on school property. If you know where he is, contact LSP at 318-34.
Why didn't they show his picture? I mean, the news is damn near complicit in the ongoing of these shootings. Show who it is.
450000 or call your local law enforcement agency.
Yo, they got these stock pictures like going on in the video. This is the man you're looking for. How are they gonna tell you if you see him anywhere and not put, like, I know it's still on the link, but they could at least put his picture in that video graphic. The news is, I mean, they're damn near complicit in letting these things go on, man. It's insane that you have to, that you notice that you see that. This isn't a huge leap in theory. They deliberately did not show his face in that video. This is the man that we're talking about. Jatavius Carroll killed a 19-year-old man and then shot a 16-year-old. Bro, for what? Oh, they call him Rabbit, not Rabid. Sounded like she said rabid, like a rabid animal.
Resolve this together as a team. Our most precious assets in this state who we serve are you. Each and every day. And we vow to keep you safe. And we're going to be relentless in our efforts, but the most important thing we're going to need is you. We're going to need that. So we vow now to continue our efforts to push forward in this investigations. As the details come in, should anyone hear anything, any information, please respectfully share that information with us.
So, you know, I just wanted to show you some of the police briefing on this case. Nobody's doing any coverage, so I'm going to do as much coverage as I can. Now, I'm not going to show all of it, but just section it out and just give you guys an idea of how they're taking this situation.
To the victims of the family.
Victorious G-Men football team win our homecoming game. Thousands of tailgaters who came here, celebrated homecoming, and returned back to their homes safely. We have
So you hear what he's saying. He's talking about, well, you know, the majority of people who came here left with their lives. That's not a good thing that you have to say that.
had alumni here this week who work in the entertainment industry, who served on a panel to discuss with our students how Grambling provided the foundation for their success. Visitors marveled at the nearly completed digital library, which is the first of its kind in our state and of all HBCUs, and visited our cybersecurity and cloud computing departments to see firsthand the state's first and only programs in this emerging technology. But of course, that's not why all of you have descended on our campus on a sunny Sunday afternoon.
Oh yeah, it was very sunny.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, in school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.